Hey there guys, welcome back to another deck profile with yours truly, Paul Reisman. Today we are taking a look at Dalton Slocum's recent Sieben Olympian Replicant everything, put it all in the sink, Dark Tree deck that we featured on the channel recently. So without any further ado, let's jump right into things.
This session brought to you by Odyssey Games for pre-orders and sealed product, TCG Prime for tons of singles and supplies, Cardo Doko for international rulers looking for products, and FowlLibrary.com for articles and wonderful deck lists, as well as our guest lecturer members King Pearlshine, Vite Ramen, Mognite, and Darren Noblock. Class is in session.
Alright guys, so we're taking a look at Sieben, the Malefic Star, in combination with Yggdrasil Malefic Verdant Tree. One of the funnest rulers ever invented, and I say that with a heavy dose of sarcasm. You can play this in combination with Clash of the Star Trees, which is a really helpful extension rule for combining these particular rulers with their corresponding star trees, you might say. And so, in doing so, we have a 60-card deck that can have stuff dealt, damage to you, removed from the game, etc. And this is just kind of what we have. One of the things we're recognizing in this list already is that there are a couple of cards that may be featured that Dalton was tooling around with. This is the list that he sent me, so there are some things that might be different in the video here, but for the most part, this is pretty much the exact same deck that he's playing and has been playing for quite some time. And so there's some suggestions that I made that I'll be talking about later on in the video, and consultation with him, trying to make this deck even more fun for him to pilot. And so there are a lot of really cool things this deck can do. Let's start off with the things that are specific to Sieben, which is his regalia. So you can play Satellite Maze Star Cyborium at instant speed, which is really helpful. Enter, draw a card, reveal 7 kings. He's not running any of those, so... So you don't even need to worry about it. It's mostly just so that he can play something off of Sieben's God's Art ability to get a regalia from outside the game that he can then play if he wants to do it. So he's not likely ever going to actually do this card. This is one of those things where we talked about whether or not this card is even necessary in the deck if you're not planning on doing any sort of 7 Kings shenanigans. I think he maybe should. That stuff is really, really solid. And so, you know, depending on what he's trying to do with the deck, maybe he's just trying to like reduce the count of that stuff for the sake of consistency. I'm not entirely sure what he's thinking there. But I'm sure he's got some reasons that he's thinking about. So he's playing one of the regalia. He's also playing 4 Aborizuki. I love this card, and I mentioned it to him. Aborizuki is just kind of an insane draw spell on a body. This thing gets even more ridiculous in this deck because Dark Tree can remove stuff from your deck from the RFG, and this thing is suddenly all of a sudden gigantic. It doesn't get the ability to remove counters to neg your opponent's board, unfortunately, because you have to order it to do that. But she can dig 3 cards deep, which is really helpful, and she can really help you to set up things with your Olympians, so she's really helpful for that as well. We're playing 3 Gatekeeper of Vizjerei, very similar to Aborizuki. You just get to remove a bunch of replicants and a bunch of Olympians in your hand from the game, and then just draw that many cards, and all of a sudden your Union 7 is more achievable, and you have a gigantic Resonator, and you have a new hand. This card is just absolute gas in this deck, and this is another recommendation that I made for him, and he was like, yeah, I should do that. This is a really good card. This card comes in really easily off of Prisia, Seeker of Friends, which is a really good way to also set up your draws and get things out. I believe he's cut this card at this point, but it is really helpful to some degree to find the certain Olympians that you're looking for in the deck to get them out. He's also playing 1 Tinkerbell, Spirit of the Light Trials, which is really good to combine with Prisia, because anything that comes in off of Prisia, if it's a 1-drop or 2-drop, she is a 2-drop. She can grab a 1-drop, and all of a sudden Tinkerbell is blowing things up and drawing you cards. That seems pretty decent as a combination. He's playing 1 Death Scythe to kind of get rid of Imperishable or Swiftness from his opponent. This is really helpful as well, because you can play Sieben's effect and play this for free, and then all of a sudden your opponent is in a situation in which their ruler does not have swiftness anymore, which is really helpful against the aggro decks that we tend to see at our locals. This is also really helpful for removing your own graveyard, so Sieben can activate his abilities, which is really helpful. So Death Scythe, I think, is a really good pick for this particular deck. He's playing 1 Horn. This is also really important for the deck. He's also going to be including 2 Allosaurus in the future once he finds them, because I think they're getting reprinted in Pilgrim Memories, and he said, I need to put those in the deck once I find them and once I get them. So Horde of the Sacred Beast is there for now until he's able to sort of sure up the ability to just simply not die outside of instant burn damage. He's also playing 1 Magic Stone Research Institute, his favorite and mine. His other favorite is Trishula because it ramps you with stone, and plus this thing really helps when you have just a ton of stuff on the field. All of a sudden your replicants can't be killed and they get piercing damage, which is really scary. This has happened against me several times, and I can say Trishula in this deck is a very scary card. He's playing 2 Girion for negation, which is really helpful. Plus, at some point in the game, I think you get just to enough stones where you can just comfortably hardcast this thing. So that's real. He also plays 1 Essence of Athena's Power. This is not so much for disruption, it's more of a combo piece. And this is just a way for him to either put stuff into the graveyard that he can then horn back into the deck, or just to mess with his opponent, but mostly if it's for his own use. On to the replicants that he's playing. He's playing 3 Replicant Neralthotep. Card's very solid. Makes a bunch of moons. Can solarize very easily into a 2-drop. That has swiftness, bloodlust, pierce. Makes a bunch of moons that can then deal 800 damage to each G resonator your opponent controls. If you have 10 for some reason, somehow you got that many, which is not unheard of with this particular replicant. You just get plus 40. You can prevent damage, and then you just get tokens every time it enters the field. This card's kind of nuts. Very fun. If you want to flicker this thing in some way, this card is going to get you a lot of boons very quickly. So, very cool replicant to see. This is one of his main win conditions as well. He's also playing 4 Replicant Kaguya for negation purposes. He's also really counting on removing a lot of cards from the deck, from the game, so he can continue to power through his solarizations. So this card is really important for that. He's also playing 4 of the Replicant Alice. In my opinion, this is probably one of the best replicants for this particular deck, because your deck is so big. Being able to look at the top 3 and then just like flood the field with the resonators. You're already playing Trishula, so this card next to that is also really solid. Plus, if you end up finding a way to get stones and additions among your chants and resonators in the graveyard, this thing just kind of does some insane stuff alongside her counterpart. So very cool card. Very interesting to see this being run in the list. I think this is actually one of the better cards for Dark Tree Sieben. He's playing 3 Replicant Odin, one of my personal favorite replicants. This thing is absolutely nuts. Just tears through any and everything. It's just so fun to look at what this card can do. The fact that you can just blow up your opponent's stones and then remove things from the graveyard and do ridiculous things. This thing is like, I'm a win con, you're gonna die. Here we go. He's also playing 2 Replicant Shiva. I believe he's playing 2 in the main, 1 in the side. This is just a way to also have another win condition online. He's playing 2 Replicant Dante. I think he should personally take this one out. It actually doesn't really help him in the sense that it can lower his life as Dark Tree. Plus he can't gain life, so he actually doesn't even go up to 3,000, which is kind of unfortunate. So I don't actually think this card has a place in Dark Tree personally. He might end up cutting this, but against Dark Tree, this card is amazing. So it's absolutely fantastic. It just lowers your opponent's life down to 3k, and then from there you can just continue to life loss them. So this is just really helpful against that particular matchup. He's playing 1 Replicant Athena. This card is actually really interesting as well. This can facilitate some stones going into your graveyard for other cards in combination with this. This card is just a bomb. I don't know what else to say. Choose one. If you played this card with Solarization, you can choose both. Banish up to 5 special magic stones. put X cards from your Magic Stone deck into the field, where X is the number of Magic Stones banished this way, and then rest up to 5 target entities your opponent controls, including their stones. You can also pay 2 green to shuffle cards from your graveyard back into your Magic Stone deck. You gain Y100 life and draw X cards, where X is the number of Magic Stones moved. And then with Revenge, she can zap a creature, and then it just is gone forever. It's kind of funny. This card is absolutely kind of baller. One of my favorite replicants in the set also, and in general, this card is very, very, very fun. So alongside all of that, we have the Olympians, which is not a new concept, but it's definitely one that feels the most like Zeus for Dalton, as he's told me. So he's playing 4 Persephone. This is really good removal for the graveyard, for the field, and a way to interact with the chase in this particular deck while also chasing your win condition. He's playing 2 Hestia for another win condition. He's playing 2 Apollon for another win condition. This removes anything that's not a resonator from the field, which is really helpful. He's playing 2 Poseidon as a way to draw his whole deck if he wants to. That's just something he gets to do. Which is absolutely crazy. And just, yeah, this card is just really, really, really good. 2 Artemis to recover stones, which is really helpful in doing a lot of combos that the deck can do. He's playing 1 Hades to blow up, just blow up his opponent's stuff, and then destroy all magic stones. So it's like a different kind of Odin in a sense. But then his opponent loses all abilities on their ruler, which is also really interesting. He plays 2 Aphrodite for the damage redirection. You, again, can't draw life because of Dark Tree, but it does give you a card, and it does redirect damage, so it kind of insulates you instead, which I think is interesting. He's playing a couple of Athena, the 7th Olympian, a win condition. She does damage, a lot of it. He's playing 1 Ares. He's probably going to go up and play more Ares with some additions to the deck. I know that's something he wanted to do alongside. He said specifically Tisiphone was something he was experimenting with. So he's trying to get more control cards into the deck, and Ares is definitely his #1 look at that. He's also playing 2 Hera to tax things, to deal damage, but mostly to get rid of cards from his opponent's hand. And then he's playing his all-time favorite new 12 Olympian god, Magna and Lenneth, the 12th Olympians, which, I mean, does that mean they're 12 and 13? Is this like a bi-generation thing? I don't know what's going on. But basically these come in and also end the game. So he's playing a grand total, I think we counted it up, I think he's playing 8 to 9 win conditions in this list. It's kind of absurd. And he can win in a variety of ways as a result. And so this is very funny. The deck is just kind of absurd in that it can just win with a variety of combination of things. Very, very, very fun. Magic Stone deck, 4 Moonshade. You don't use your life, so you might as well use it. Makes sense, right? 2 Secret Stone of the Wanderer Moon, 1 of the new Rainbow Solaricite, which is really helpful. He's playing that in combination with Magic Stone of Eclipse. I have seen him be bit in the butt by this card so often. Dalton, don't run this card anymore. I love you, buddy. Don't run this card anymore. Magic Stone of Knowledge, just a really solid stone for for Omni stuff, for Omni colors, and then you're playing the 1 Darkness Moon Fragment because that's your main color combination. Of course, side deck is 1 Replicant Shiva, and a couple of suggestions we mentioned in the video before. A couple of Allosaurus, once he gets his hands on them, is going to be really, really helpful. He's putting in a couple of more Ares, I believe, alongside Tisiphone, as we mentioned before. I would also recommend that he look into Reconnaissance Gears in combination with Tinkerbell to sort of board wipe and do other things like that. This card is really solid. It's just a free Tinkerbell blow up, and it's purely because excuse me, it's purely because Zeben's is a gears gear ruler. So like the fact that you just get to put this in and Tinkerbell sees it and you can just blow up the field for 1 white seems pretty good. You might want to consider that. Other than that, this deck is very fun to see in action. Again, very absurd. Love it. I love that it continues to win our locals. every single week. So he's having a good time with it, and he's continuing to hone it and make it better. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section down below. Do you like Sieben's, Olympians, Replicants, Kitchen Sink? It's all good stuff. We're just going to put it in a giant pile and play Force of Will. If you like this deck, let us know down in the comment section down below. Hit that like button if you want more content like this. Hit subscribe and ring the bell if you want more content like this into the future. And then if you want to expand your horizons and look beyond YouTube for Force of Will content, go to rulerschooltcg.com. Link is in the description. There we're going to have deck lists and tournament reports and other articles and other things that are going to be really helpful for you to take off into the game of Force of Will in the year 2024. Anyway, guys, this has been Paul with another deck profile. I'll catch you next time and on to the next video.